We are
Didi
and Arma, and in our daily lives we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together.
Today is part 2 of building internal power. And last time we were looking at fascia development, becoming a conductor for energy. And you know, when you start building more energy, you become more sensitive for energy during your training. Your energy is going to give you signals as well. So you might find out, like I found out, that your energy might be all over the place. Like one day it's like, man, it's so much and this feels great. And the next day might be like all the way down. So this is telling you something. It's like, so where is my energy going, etc., etc. So we want to deepen that a little bit today and talk about that, Didi, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting topic, this. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you were just saying you experienced, and that was while you were training for a while already, yep. You experienced that your energy was going all over the place. Can you, if you go back there, what was happening?
Well, I think my energy was all over the place before, right? I mean, this is one of the, you know, this is one of the things that got me into training.
Yeah.
But you build more energy, and then this becomes stronger even, right? So you're going to feel really great some days. It's like, wow, you know, everything seems to click and work and everything that you longed for, like more peace of mind and more stamina, better concentration and things like that. You're like, wow, I've got it, right? And then the next day might be like, whoa, you sort of almost pay a price for it. It's like, so I think it's just a thing that everything gets more exaggerated.
Absolutely.
And then comes a time to really look inside yourself. It's like, so what are my patterns? What are my behaviors? What am I doing? Where's this energy going? And that, you know, it sort of knocks on your door. It's like, hello, you know, you got to change some stuff. And that becomes a real adventure. Yeah.
So if when I listen to you, what I hear is that you train and your energy improves, but you haven't changed anything around it. Or not as much. Yeah. So when you experience more energy, you might just spend it in the same day, or you.
It might be going places that you sort of are unconscious of, and now it's getting more into the conscious.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Because of the training, there was already more, more routine in what I was doing. That was really helping. So, you know, you get into this routine and you see, your sleep improves and this improves and that improves. But the main thing is, where is your energy leaking? And I think that's a thing that is an adventure in itself, like I was saying, because some things you can see and some things you cannot see yet, because some behavioral patterns, they just run unconsciously, right? How you deal with this, how you deal with media, screen time, people, situations, etc., etc. So, and those things become more obvious when you start putting, putting more awareness on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what? So you got more awareness. You were more aware. Oh, I feel these energy drops, and then more extreme energy. Great energy on other days. So then, what was your next step?
Well, the next step is really looking into your life. So I started with a process of like, okay, so what are the main things I know now that I leak energy towards? And then decide, for me, it was a really good thing to go in it for 3 months and just decide I'm not going to do that stuff anymore. And other things, I would put them on a low level and, you know, get into a routine of actually cultivating more energy. and leading how you say that, it's more of a, it's almost like you go back into a cave or something for 3 months, but you're still living in society. So, it's a bit like that. So, yeah.
But I know. And I remember that you'd been reading about it and you were like, okay, I want this almost cleansing period.
Yeah.
And you prepared for actually 100 days, a little bit more over 3 months. And it was kind of set out. I remember very clearly that you put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
This day is when I'm going to start. And you actually put 100 and you counted down to 1.
To 1, yeah.
Zero, yeah. So you had very clearly the framework, 100 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which worked perfect for me, because something in between is like wouldn't really work. I just know myself really good. I think, we'll get there in a minute, but for you, that's a different thing.
Yeah, sure.
But this might inspire people. It's like, if, for me, it was like, okay, if I'm going to do that 100 days, it's like, like I got a real good goal. That was like resetting my energy, making sure that, I go from this sort of landscape to a more, softer landscape, if you will. Yeah. So, I was a deep inside longing for that as well, to go more inside, to contemplate myself, and to really let some habits and things go, and making changes like our food and things. So I would let go of anything that was too much of a stimulant.
Yeah.
Because I also found that was getting into me and on a daily level. And I just left that behind and really started investigating what is having a certain influence, right? So,
absolutely. So some of the things that you did were meditation.
Yeah, I went into meditation every day. So that was the thing I started with every morning, early in the morning. And just sit and just find stillness and doing all sorts of breathing exercises just to really go inside.
Yeah. Actually, there was, because there was something else. You also said to yourself, okay, in these 100 days, I will get up very early.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. You set the alarm clock early morning. And the first thing you did was meditation.
Yeah.
And you would do a lot of meditation before that, but this was more like, okay, now I have this deal with myself, and I stick to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what were the other things that you were working on besides food, of course?
Yeah, food, of course. It was also screen time, so I was really aware of where screen time is going. I mean, this was before cell phones. There were cell phones, there were no smartphones yet, so that really helped.
Yeah.
And I was really late into that as well. My first smartphone is like a couple of years ago. So, but in those times also, really looking at media, also how do you engage with movies, even certain music. I really got into what am I watching and what am I listening, all these things. And, we were living together. You became more conscious of that as well. We became more conscious of that. And it's like, so what do you let in?
Yeah.
Right? It's same with the news and all these things. It's like, so unconsciously you might absorb all these things, but I was like very conscious, like, no, I have to, sort of let all of that go, because I found I was reacting to that a lot, and reactivity is a large part of this. So, I mean, these were obviously things we were starting to do together as well. Same with our diet. And I think you were always a little bit different than I was. I was more in the extremes, and you were already, right? You were already a little bit more like, oh, well, I make this decision. And so instead of doing a hard reset, if you will, you were more like, you were always sort of resetting all the time, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more.
For me, it was, I think for me, it's more if I see something, and I'm intrigued, I'm just going to try it out. So, and then when I like it, I'm just stick to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I've always done physical training in a form, ballet and then yoga and the training. But I just, when we, it was funny story, we got a dog, and then the dog was kind of reflecting back to myself and saying, oh, what does my life look like? I want to take really good care of this dog.
Yeah.
And we were, of course, doing a lot of walks. And
he was like your shadow, right?
Yeah.
Well, our shadow, but I think he was more connected to you. So, yeah.
And but it really reflected back to, because I wanted to give him the best food.
Yeah.
It reflected back to, what am I eating? What kind of exercise do I do? And it started with, I just said, okay, I didn't want to make that much time in the morning for it, because I did have the time. But I just said, okay, I'm going to start with yoga in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do 5 minutes. But I loved it so much, it turned out to 10 minutes. And I do it every morning still.
Yeah, exactly. You start adding different exercises, but they become sort of a set routine that you continuously do. Yeah.
I'm very loyal to the stuff that I'm experiencing. And if I like it, I just stick to it. So, I'm a little bit different than I find the 100 days, I've done them as well at a certain time. But for my character, it's a bit rigid, because then I want to add on, and then I want to let go. But we're in that particular way, we're pretty different.
Well, and I think that could be inspiring for people listening, and maybe recognizing some things like, oh, that would be great, to make some changes.
Yeah.
That there's different possibilities of how to do it depending on the person you are. And I'm one of these people who just goes in, full throttle, and then, walk the path deep. And then, and see what happens.
Yeah.
It helps me to triggers like, 100 days. Okay, that's 3 months, and I have a goal. And, this really helps me and motivates me. Yeah. Whereas I see you're more like of a continuum, and you might add a thing and you keep doing that. And then, they're all fine, as long as you feel that there's a development going. And,
absolutely. But there is like, these time frames are interesting, because they sometimes say take a 21-day time frame to change a habit.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
And I think if I try things, I do stick to them for a while, so I can experience them and see if they work for me.
Anytime shorter than that, you won't really feel the benefit of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's true. So this 21-day thing for habit changing is,
absolutely.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because it's a good one.
So if you change your food, if you change, and that's also something that you will experience if you change something. Especially when you do it with food, because the 100-day reset was a little bit further on.
Yeah.
But before that, I did the 5 elements food course.
Yeah, sure.
And every time when I came back from a day at school, I would say, "Oh, this is the next thing that we're gonna do," and then of course it was sugar.
Of course, yeah.
But the first thing that will happen when you change, and also if you go into deep meditation for a while, you will detox first.
Yep, absolutely.
So what your body will do is
I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah. Yep. Because now that there's not much bad stuff coming in, your body can release that what is still stored.
Yeah.
And you will get this counter effect. So you think, oh, I'm doing really well. I cut sugar, and now you get this backlash.
And you feel like beep.
You feel lousy for a couple of days. It's the same with coffee or same.
These heavy stimulants.
Alcohol. you will feel a backdrop, but you can also feel it when you change your diet from when you've had like this winter time and you ate all these heavy stuff, and then you go into springtime and you go to the lighter stuff, and then you feel like, oh, something wants to leave my body.
Absolutely.
That's the detox.
Yeah, and springtime is the right time for that, right? And we're in it now, and that's, I guess, why we're talking about this. So, but I love that about this 21 days, because that really helps. If you go through those, it will just be part of you, and that's the great thing, you know. Me myself going through these 100 days, I noticed that some things never came back anymore after these 100 days, right? So you lose some things that you're, why would you ever go back, you know?
Yeah.
Because you start feeling so much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the 21 days is you dip your toe in the water.
Yeah.
You go beyond the detox, and then you feel what the result is, because you want to feel a result of what you're doing. And then at the 21 days, you still don't have the full effect, because sometimes changes will be set over a course of years.
Yeah.
And but it will be the first, it's the dipping the toe in the water.
I think for me personally, these 100 days, and this is a while ago, that was a major shift, right? Everything after was built on these 100 days, allowing myself to really take care of a lot of things. And of course, it sets in motion a process that just keeps continuing. And there's all these layers to explore, right? But I started with the biggest chunks first. So what am I very aware now of that I can let go? So all stimulants like coffee, sugar, I just dropped them, and I never went back. You know, I mean, I've had some sugar, of course, every now and then. Then it's hard to escape that stuff. But it's out of my routine, and I was addicted to it. I was really addicted to it, coming from from my youth, where I grew up, and the whole family, I guess, was sugar addicted. So and I was as well, and this wasn't helping me at all. So all these stimulants, I know now why I took them, because it gave me a certain feeling at a certain moment, but I always got a backdrop. Right? Is that the right word? I don't know. It's like, my energy would crash. And then, all this emotional stuff would happen. And, it's so getting all these stimulants out of the way changed everything for me. Yeah.
That's, I was just remembering saying this to you earlier, like for food, it's always good to understand, am I eating this to soothe? And I've said it before on podcast.
Yeah.
Am I eating this to soothe me or to nurture me? And if it's soothing, that's it's all the sugar stuff, all the stuff that your body doesn't really need, but it's to fill a gap somewhere, an emotion.
Absolutely. And if you look good at it, if you really look it in the eye, you can see it's enslaving you.
Absolutely.
It's the same with the news, all the things, all these stimulants that we're looking for every day, and now with all these screens around us, it's just it's something to be really careful with, because it's enslaving you. It's drawing attention, and your energy is just scattered, right? So walking a Qigong path is more of like a holy path for me. It's really looking, how can I change myself in this lifetime to a place where I can be of service? And I cannot be of service if I'm messing myself up all the time. And I was doing that. And that's it. And I mean, it's something that's just around. This takes a lot of motivation deep from inside to walk this path in the way I do. I don't do Qigong just for fun, or it's like, oh, nice, relaxing.
Something on the side.
This is a true path, and to be of service, energy needs to work through you, right? So, and this is really going to help, if you can turn that down, you can turn that noise down. So just start turning all the noise down. now it becomes much more obvious of what your purpose actually is in this life, right? You already feel it going somewhere, but really, training for the benefit of other people, being a teacher, demands of me is that I really take care of myself, right? Absolutely. And really look myself deep in the eye. And that obviously is a process, because some stuff you can see, some stuff you can't see. But this makes it so much more. If you look at it that way, it's like, so what does life want from you instead of what do you want from life? This turning around process was really happening and keeps deepening.
Yeah.
And then it becomes obvious, like if this energy wants to work through you, you really have to understand all your imbalances, your stagnations, all the things that are the lower part of you is drawing, your attention away from it just, and all these stimulants I've noticed were feeding the lower self, right?
Absolutely.
They were feeding the ego. They were feeding my dramas, all my stuff, they were, and just turning that around in these 100 days was really the start of a process, like, okay, now I'm starting to arrive at a place where I can actually, and it makes you humble. It's just a humbling process,
Absolutely.
You're working with energy and you're working with people. So it's just a matter of really taking responsibility for yourself, and we all do it in our own way, right, Didi?
Yeah.
And there's not one way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one thing that because you were talking about stimuli, and we haven't even talked about your social.
Absolutely, the people you hang out with,
absolutely, that has a huge effect. What do you do during the day?
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back to the stimuli, because we were listening to a podcast the other day, which was really inspiring, with what's his name from Metallica.
Oh right, Lars Ulrich. Yeah.
And a real icon in the music, of course, and he was.
They're on a 2-year tour now. And he's 60 years old.
And what I loved that he was telling about what his life looked like with his food and exercises to stay really
on top, in shape.
And he said also, and it was so recognizable, that of course you can have a drink once a month, real rock and roll.
One wine a month.
But he said it has a backlash. So when you take that drink, you may sleep. Your sleep might be interrupted during the night, because you wake up, you have to go to the toilet, so you wake up not as rested. And
it has a domino effect, right? It just goes into the day, goes into the next day. Yeah.
And I was like, that's exactly what it is. So sometimes for some people it seems boring to live your life clean and to take out all these this stuff that we've been conditioned, that is the pleasures of life.
Absolutely, and becomes more. It's complex sometimes, right? Going to a dinner party with someone, it's like, no, just water, or like no meat, it's like, no cake. And they're looking at you as like, man, you don't have a fun life, but but actually I do. Because I feel great.
You feel like you can achieve so much more, and your days are filled with so much more energy, and
but and that allows something bigger than you to happen, and
absolutely.
I guess somewhere we're all looking for that, and and this is really helpful. It's just leading a clean life, and it takes guts, it takes courage to say no, being around other people, or and choosing this path, but it will. It pays back in 100-fold, in 1,000-fold.
Absolutely, and you see that slowly but surely. when you take that path and you take the next step and you take, because you did 100 days, but after that you did another 100 days.
Oh, I've done many, yeah. But this first one was like the big
major
one, you know?
one. And for me, it's been every step I've taken on the way has brought me where I am today, which is so different from where I started 11 years ago when we started training. And
in this way, you allow the true transformation just to actually happen, right? It's you're different now. And I think for maybe in closing, it's good for people to understand, you know, that journaling is such a big part of this. Yeah. So now if you're inspired by this, you know, just take a while, maybe a couple of weeks to journal and make an energy journals like, so how did I sleep? How did I eat? You know, what did I eat? You know, all these things. And then just, you know, go back in times like, what did I do yesterday? How do I feel today? How did I sleep? Did it affect it? So this will give you insight in just a couple of big chunks, maybe that you're like, okay, you know, if I can tackle those, you know, and start doing first the 21 days, maybe get into another habit, or however you do it, you know, this energy journal will be an absolute big help here. Yeah. And because it's all about creating awareness. Where's your energy leaking? It's the same as going to your accountant, really. You know, it's like, so, oh yeah, but you know, look at your numbers, you know, your money. And he'll be like, yeah, but you know, you've been spending this and this. Yeah, I don't know where it's going. Yeah, but you know, you can see it, you know, but if you have to become aware of it. So
absolutely. Yeah.
It's not that different, really. So
no, it is.
And then you can decide, where's this energy going? How does it, you know, can help people, you know, move forward? Yeah.
Yeah. Great. I loved it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thanks for listening and thanks for watching.
Yeah. And I hope to see you next time.
Absolutely. Okay. Take good care. Eh?
Bye.
Bye.